Welcome everyone. Welcome to the day 9 of our AI impromptu speech training. So actually, this is not an impromptu speech. I have thought this for maybe 5 minutes because it is really a really hard topic. It is talking about myself, and I finally figured it out. So let's plug this into the Gemini and feedback on my speech. So a risk that changed the course of my life.
All right, I understand. I'll listen to your speech and provide feedback as you go, just like an audience member would. Feel free to begin whenever you're ready.
The topic is a risk that I took that completely changed my course of life forever. So risk, we all take risks in our lives. And what do risks look like in your eyes? Was it the bets that you did on the casino? And was that the time when you really have the courage to tell your then a girlfriend about the love message that you have for her? Or is it that you finally muster up the courage to tell the school results to your parents? As for me, I had one risk that I took that I would never forget. So it happened around 3 weeks ago. So actually, that was when I was trading the meme coins. So I have been trading for maybe around 3 to 4 weeks now, and I had major losses in meme coins, and that really shrunk my portfolio very much, maybe from 2 SOL to zero point 0.2 SOL in a few days' time. So actually, what I decided next was to go launch my own meme coin. And with the help of some tools, softwares that I can try to bundle my coins and do my investment. And then at that time, I found the one to Telegram promotion. So at first, I found a bot that would message all the 300 groups on Telegram, and I hope that it can find investors for my coin. But actually, that actually flopped, and I just found many more promoters or designers that want to promote my coin. And next, I found a few promoters, and it is where my risk began. So after some dialogues, and I found this person very trustworthy. It started with one person, and maybe with ethics as well. And he was asking me for 5 SOL back then, and I did not have the money, so I had to took the risk of borrowing money from the bank to pay this guy, and then he will do my promotions. It was like all things were going well, and I didn't think about it. And it is actually the start of the huge risk that is coming. So after the guy is paid, he maybe paid a few not so popular guys on Twitter to do raids, and maybe he paid the Dex or Moontop, I don't know. And then next is that he recommended me to another guy in that space, and I I trusted that guy as well. It seemed that he was also an ethical guy and with a good, solid heart and served me very well. But he this time requested around 15 soul, and I didn't have the uh, money. I also need to borrow it again, and I didn't question that much. But after I paid it, he delayed the work and saying that he might need another 7 souls before he can work for me. And then he also teamed up with a few more guys. And then the project ultimately did not work out. And I now have to repay this debt. And I feel very frustrated and could have extended the process to build, like to see if they are trustworthy, and they also provided me with some proof in the past, although that was fake. And then I just
Okay, this
trusted the wrong people for the project, and I now somehow start to regret it. And this was the very first lesson in business that I invested in the wrong people. So from this on, I would slowly trust strangers and to see more proof from them and also work with them longer before entrusting so much money with them. So this is the risk that completely changed my life forever.
Okay, that was a very detailed story about a risky investment. It seems like you learned some tough lessons along the way. Before we move on to the feedback, I'm curious, what's the biggest thing you learned from that experience?
It is not to trust someone so fast, especially on Telegram, where you cannot trace them. And after I have another side story back then. I went to the channel that they claim to have ownership and to promote my coin for me. I paid that guy maybe 5 SOL or 7 SOL more than the guy posted once on one of the channels, and then he originally promised me to post on the other channels as well, but he didn't post and vanished from my site and just blocked me. I just got scammed maybe the second or the third time. And so that now I would be very cautious and I wouldn't have such good beliefs for my projects so that it would lead me to borrow money. And I would like be more cautious from now on.
It's a crucial lesson to learn, especially in the online world. It sounds like you had a couple of experiences that really reinforce the importance of caution and thorough research. Now, let's get into some specific feedback on your storytelling. Would you like to hear about the structure, the delivery, or perhaps a little bit of both?
Feedback of all.
All right, let's start with a bit of both. Overall, your story was engaging, and I felt like I was right there with you, experiencing the ups and downs of your investment journey. You had a clear beginning, middle, and end, which made it easy to follow. However, there are definitely some areas we can work on. For example, you started with a very generic description of risk, which made the beginning of your story feel a little slow. Maybe next time consider jumping directly to a more personal introduction. Also, there were moments where the pacing of the story felt a little uneven. Sometimes you zoomed in on details, and sometimes glossed over some important points. What do you think about that?
What are the examples and how to improve?
Sure, let's break down some specifics. For example, you mentioned losing a significant portion of your meme coin portfolio, going from 2 so to zero point 0.2 so in a short time. That's a pretty dramatic shift, but you kind of glossed over the emotional impact of that. You could have paused there for a second and added a few words to show how you were feeling at the time. Did you feel panicked? Or perhaps surprised? Adding those emotional cues will make it feel a lot more relatable. What are your thoughts on this?
I was just not processing that emotion at that time because I was so hastily want to move on to the main topic of the real risk in the next section of my speech.
Understandable. Sometimes we're so focused on the facts that we forget to acknowledge the emotional side of the story. However, for the purpose of storytelling, it would be beneficial to slow down a little bit and let the listeners feel what you were feeling. It makes it more relatable and keeps them engaged. Would you like to talk more about pacing or perhaps move on to delivery techniques?
Feedback on all, please.
Okay, let's talk about delivery. Your voice was clear and easy to understand, but there were moments where you spoke a little quickly, particularly when you were explaining the technical aspects of the investment process. This caused you to sometimes rush through important details, making it harder to follow. Also, your tone was quite consistent throughout the story, which, while calm, could have been more dynamic to highlight key moments of your story. Would you like to hear a couple of suggestions to enhance your vocal delivery?
So unfortunately, this went this crashed again, and I have to move this to a new stream. I don't know if it will have the memory.
Okay, that's great. You're open to some vocal delivery suggestions. One thing you could try is using your voice to reflect the emotional ups and downs of the story. For example, when describing the initial excitement of making a seemingly good investment, your voice could be a bit higher and more energetic, and when talking about the losses, your tone could become more somber and reflective. Another area to focus on is pacing, where you can experiment with pausing to create tension before making an impactful statement or when describing a key point. Would you like me to elaborate on these specific points? Or would you prefer to hear about other aspects of your delivery?
Feedback on all, please. Oh, feedback on all, please.
Okay, let's talk about your eye contact. Maintaining eye contact is essential to connect with your audience and make your story engaging. From my perspective, there were moments where it seemed like your gaze was drifting, and this could cause you to lose your audience's attention. Next time, try to focus on making eye contact with different individuals throughout your story. Also, consider using your eye contact strategically, like when you are delivering a crucial line or a personal reflection. Would you like to practice this specific technique?
No, just give me feedback on all the aspects.
All right, let's do a quick recap of all the feedback. We've covered quite a few points already. First, on structure, I suggested starting with a more personal introduction. Then, regarding pacing, we discussed slowing down to allow the audience to feel the emotional impact of the story. We also covered the delivery by suggesting that you should vary your tone and vocal delivery to reflect the emotion, as well as use more pauses. Finally, we talked about making more consistent eye contact. Is there any specific aspect you would like to focus on first?
The tone and vocal delivery was a weak point of mine that I have to improve. And also add more emotions, add more pacing variations. Maybe I was too quickly going over some informational points back then. So we'll take this as feedback and improve for next time. I think telling my own story is even more difficult than telling about random stuff because I rarely crystallize these experiences as talking points, and I have to try to recall my memory first before I can convert that into some imaginative descriptions. So I'll definitely continue working on that. And will this video wraps up here. Hope you have learned one thing or two. See you in the next session as well. Thank you and goodbye.